Chubbs, you making this up?
Right up there with the clothes, the cars, and the heartthrobs. The sound of Miami Vice helped set it apart from other TV cop shows. You knew it when you saw the opening credits. Buckle up, this show is fast and furious. And it didn't stop there. Like the burgeoning MTV, Miami Vice was the marriage of music and stylized images. It brought extra tension and high energy to cop and robber car chases. And much of that sound was created far from the glitter of Miami and the glamour of Hollywood. It was composed here by one man in this farmhouse. His name is Jan Hammer. His home in upstate New York is the unlikely birthplace of what became the signature sound of the 1980s. A chance meeting with executive producer Michael Mann led to Hammer's involvement in Miami Vice.
During the meeting, I had all kinds of sketches on a cassette that, and I played him one thing, and he listened to it, and he liked it very much. And he said, let's go ahead on the basis of that piece. And that piece was the Miami Vice theme.
Hammer credits Mann for giving him the artistic license to try anything.
We were almost finished dubbing the pilot episode. Michael took me aside and he says, if we get picked up, or I think he may have even said when we get picked up, because it really looked good. He says, I want you to run with it. I mean, those were his words. Just take over.
Success came fast. By mid-season, producers decided to put together a Miami Vice album. It was a worldwide smash. The album spent 12 weeks at #1 on the Billboard charts. But there was little time to celebrate. Unlike other TV shows which recycled theme music, Jan had to churn out fresh material for every episode, at times up to 33 minutes of music each week.
I had about 4 days to look at the rough cut, come up with the music, record it, place it, and ship it back to them. And then there was another week coming right away.
He was essentially creating a new album every week. In this 1985 interview, he discussed how he got his inspiration.
And I learned not to read the screenplays because that way I can be fresh and see it as a viewer. And I respond to it on a very emotional level. And it's also helping me to keep turning out things week after week.
But his instrumentals weren't playing the role of background music. This was the first show to treat music on equal footing with the characters.
There were, two major characters, Don and Philip, Sonny and Rico, but that the music filled in as a third major character because it really was given so much prominence compared to TV shows up till this day.
The music we saw as another tool in which to tell the story, not just with words, not just with cinematic images, but another thread, if you will.
Sometimes the music also was allowed to be on its own, where all the sound effects, all the dialogue would drop out. And it was usually neon or rain or night. And all those things just really started working on its own, where the music really took on a life of its own.
What are you looking at?
Sometimes, whatever was on high rotation over at MTV found its way on Miami Vice. Singer Phil Collins' hit, In the Air Tonight, created perhaps the most famous scene in the show's history.
It took a simple scene and it made it much bigger, much more profound, and much more resonant than if we just had some trifling score.
It became a thing to get a song onto Miami Vice. So all the record labels would try and get their latest signings and the most promising prospects to appear, or have their music appear on the show.
And why wouldn't they? Miami Vice was uncompromisingly film-like. It was groundbreaking in its look and sound. It was the coolest thing in primetime.
How about if I just blow that coke right back out of you, amigo?
During the first year, it really established itself as this incredible sort of watershed where things really changed. And we felt that after that, nothing will be the same.
Some scenes went minutes without any dialogue at all, letting the music tell the story. Commonplace in films, but unheard of in television. Miami Vice changed that.
You can fill gaps in the narrative with the music, and you don't have to tell the story 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You tell it 1, 3, 5, 7, and you can use the music to help tell the story.
Have the little show I put on down there hits the fan?
Call it unconventional, call it contemporary. It was different than anything else on television. It redefined the role music played in primetime dramas, and along the way, became the soundtrack of an era.
You ever consider a career in Southern law enforcement?
Maybe. Maybe.
Either play ball or do the time.
I'm Ricardo Tubbs.